there is nothing new under the sun. Was that just a broad, general statement? Or does it have consequences for those of us who consider ourselves to be creative or original, artists, writers, musicians, what have you? Do we actually create new things sometimes? Or are they just a mass conglomeration of everything we've ever heard or seen or felt in the past? For example, what if you write a book which nearly everyone believes to be original? The New York Times says it's unique and you're a creative genius. But is it true that most of the ideas in that book, and characters and concepts and circumstances, are actually all from your own head? Maybe they're just rip-offs of things you've read or seen or felt in the past. What if your protagonist is actually your second grade teacher? Or one of your favorite passages is copied almost verbatim from your favorite book? Can you really be called original? Personally, I love the idea of originality. I hate to think that whenever I write, I'm just regurgitating things I've heard before, just reinterpreting other people's work. I like to think that some of my favorite authors were almost completely original. For example, Gaston Leroux, the author of The Phantom of the Opera. One of his chapter titles is The Singular Attitude of a Safety Pin. Surely that's original. I mean, who else has come up with the singular attitude of a safety pin? And then Say Goodnight, Gracie by Julie Reese-Deaver. I've read this book more times than I'd like to say, and I think I've cried every single time. It's the old story of friendship and loss and grief, but it's written in such a way that it's emotionally impacting. It's just an amazing book. Then there's The Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey, which I have also read several times. It's revisiting an age-old mystery concerning the life and character of Richard III, but it's through the eyes of a modern police detective. That's pretty original, right? Who else has written something like that? Surely those authors, if no one else, were creative, really creative. I'm writing a book right now, and sometimes when I'm plotting the storyline and deciding what the next step is going to be and what my characters are going to do next, I try to think of the most unexpected thing, the thing that nobody would expect, and that will just shock and awe the readers with its creativity and originality. But the more I look at my plot, the more I wonder if it's just a ripoff of some of my favorite works of fiction. For example, The Secret Garden. It involves a garden that's been abandoned for years as a consequence of this one woman's death. In my book, my protagonist stumbles upon this garden, which has been abandoned for years, and in its history, there's a woman who died in the garden. And at the time I came up with that idea, I was thinking, oh, wow, that's original. My characters are speaking to me. This is wonderful. This is, oh, wow, I love this idea. I've never heard such a thing before. Now that I think about it, I wonder if Frances Hodgson Burnett would like to whap me over the head with a rolling pin because I'm ripping off one of her truly creative ideas. Then there's the entire scheme of the book. It's actually a retelling of the classic fairy tale Beauty and the Beast, which in itself is not actually original, since another one of my favorite books, Beauty by Robin McKinley, is a retelling of the story of Beauty and the Beast. So even that's not original. No matter how many original creative spin-offs I make off of that basic story, they've probably all been done before. So here's the question. Am I viable as an author because this is what everyone does? Is it true that even Julie Reese-Deaver took themes from her own life and books she'd enjoyed and movies she'd watched and just conglomerated them into this book, which I would consider creative and original? Is it okay to take an entrail from this novel and an organ from that book and mash them together in some kind of literary Frankenstein's monster? Or am I a shameless hack who should stop writing right now? Because I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm just ripping off people's creative ideas. You tell me.